The last 2 years, I have been focusing on my integrity. It's part of the reason I went celibate. My question is, how is integrity defined in the eyes of karma? I recently learned that I get to define what integrity means for myself. That was a shocker for me. I thought I had to follow strict rules in what I thought integrity meant. So what is integrity, and how do we define it for ourselves in a way that allows us to feel safe and still experience life to the fullest? And a side note, how do I remain in my integrity within a hookup culture? I love these questions, by the way. So let's start with some definitions maybe, so we're kind of all on the same page. When I use the phrase hookup culture, does everyone understand what that means? Hook up culture, hook up. Think, what was that? What happens in college? Think. So maybe let me put it this way. Think free love of the '70s on steroids, okay? And thanks to our interconnection, hookup culture is basically where casual sex encounters, one night stands, friends with benefits, whatever these casual sex encounters are they're okay, they're permissible. The expectation is that they not lead to long-term or even short-term relationships or bonding or intimacy or anything like that. Hookup culture, very prevalent, all age groups nowadays. So that's what that is. That's a framework, okay? Integrity, what does integrity mean? That's another interesting sort of weirdly subjective question. But just for kicks, I looked it up. It's actually the first time I looked up the definition of integrity because, sometimes we learn terms and phrases by being in experiences with others, and that's how we formulate our relationship with it. And then I go, you know what? Let me look it up. So here's a definition I found online. Integrity is the inner sense of wholeness deriving from qualities such as honesty and consistency of character. As such, one may judge that others have integrity to the extent that they act according to the values, beliefs, and principles that they claim to hold. So in other words, there's no hard, fast, black and white idea of what integrity is. It's relative to the standards an individual sets for themselves, okay? So if you say, here's the experience of life I want to have and what I believe in. I believe in kindness to others. I believe in helping those who have less than myself. If you say that's who you are, you're in integrity with yourself if your actions show that, okay? If I say I'm the kind of person who really doesn't care that much about other people, let them fend for themselves, and my actions demonstrate that, then I am in integrity with myself, okay? So often we want to hear the word integrity and feel and attach our standard of what that word means. So we look at others and say, you're not being in integrity because you don't live a certain way. Well, that may be the way they want to live, and their actions demonstrate that. So integrity is a very individualized sort of experience. So back to the question, that framework. So I'm reading this as a question that's centered around sex and celibacy. So for me, I'm going to answer it like I answered the definition of an integrity. What are the values or what are the things that you are holding for yourself around sex? If it is celibacy, then you're in integrity with yourself if you follow that standard. What does that mean, celibacy? So I'm going to borrow a concept from 12-step programs, whereby in many 12-step programs, sobriety is defined by the individual. So, for example, in AA, sobriety is generally defined as you stop drinking, okay? But people who are in OA, Overeaters Anonymous, sobriety is not defined as we stop eating because we have to eat to live. So sobriety is now defined as something different for someone in OA. It might be defined as no longer overeating, or no longer eating as an emotional response to situations, or only eating certain kinds of foods. Same thing with Sex and Love Addicts Anonymous. Sobriety is defined by what that person wants to experience. No one expects someone who is in SLA to never fall in love again or never have sex again. But for them, sobriety might involve a period of time where they are not in a relationship or not having sexual contact with someone else. But the individual defines that for themselves. So to go back to this question again, whatever you decide or determine to be the experience you want to have, that's your standard. And you call it celibacy, you call it whatever you want, but then integrity is holding yourself to that. So how do you hold yourself to that, or what are some ways to support you holding yourself to that? Get a supportive community of people around you who know about this and are willing to help hold you to it. Any sort of transformation is hard enough on our own. It's always good to have people who support us. And when I say support us, I also mean don't judge us and throw us under the bus if we slip. Support is non-judgmental. Support is unconditional. I am with you when you honor and you keep yourself in integrity. Did you step out of this? I still love you. I still support you. How can I support you getting back on track if that's what you want to do? So supporting that. So surround your people you can trust, who support you and help you with that. I also have another saying I like to use, which is called, don't go down the chip aisle. Okay? So what does that mean? So I have had a journey of off and on trying to get fit and lose weight, and it's only been fairly successful recently because I followed my own advice, which was stop going down the chip aisle. I love mindless snacking, like chip aisle, the potato chip aisle. I love sitting, watching TV, and I got a bag of chips, and I'm just doing this. Mindless, bored eating, and next thing I know, the whole party-sized bag is gone in one sitting, right? So for me then, it was like, oh, maybe you should just portion things out. So I'm portioning out. That portion was not enough. Let me go get some more, all right? So then I realized, wait, you know what? If I don't have the chips in my house, I won't eat them, okay? So how do I not get the chips in my house? I don't buy them from the grocery store. But I've realized that if I walk down the chip aisle in the grocery store, somehow they're going to get in my cart. Don't know how. They see me walk by and they fall off the shelves into my cart. So I have learned not to go down the chip aisle. I got to go to the grocery store. But I have better control of not going down certain aisles. So don't go down the chip aisle. So for many of us, in our transformation, especially when it comes to maybe relationships, we know what our chip aisle is. We know the red flags. We know the sort of people that we find ourselves attracted to who are bad news. And half the time, we still go there. We see the red flags waving, and we say, oh, look, how pretty. Red, my favorite color. And we just go anyways. And then we go, oh my God, why does this keep happening? Right? Don't go down the chip aisle.